Hello artists and welcome to Sculpture Level E. Let's get started. Alright, so in front of me here I've got my sketchbook, I've got my name at the top, Sculpture Level E. This is a two-part experiment, so you're going to have experiment at the top, and you're going to have mini art on bottom, and you're going to need to go ahead and draw that out. So we are going to be making a cube today for our experiment, how to do that, so you're going to want to draw that out in your sketchbook. All right, let's take a look at our learning goals. It says I can roll a slab using the guides to the size I need. It says I can create and follow a plan. I can add clay to create a 3D form. I can create strong patterns. I can correctly and safely use a needle tool. And I can slip and score slabs together. All right, so as I said, we're going to be starting with a cube, and this is going to be a very miniature cube. So I've gone ahead and I've gotten some clay out for myself. Not too much, not too little, just so it fits in my hand comfortably. I will need the guides and the rolling pin like I had for level D. And then in level E bucket, there's some new tools I'd like to introduce you to. So we have these almost looking like butter knives. They're called fettering knives, and they're a clay tool to help. They are not sharp. They're as sharp as a butter knife. So as long as you're using it correctly and not like pushing down or using it incorrectly on your hand, you will be completely fine. There's also here a needle tool. A needle tool is going to help you get some really defined detail and get some really precise edges. Keep in mind they're very, very pointy on the top, so when you're putting them in the bucket, they need to go point down in the bucket so that people are not hurting themselves. And then the last tool that's in level D that's very fun and interesting is this smoothing tool. And this will help you to smooth out your cube at the end to get some nice even edges. All right, so I got to do some slab building first here. So just like I did in level D, what I got to do here is squish it out first. And I'm going to use these guides to start rolling this out. So remember, just like I learned last level that I need to roll it out a little bit, turn it and roll it out some more so that I'm not getting a rectangular shape, but rather I'm getting more of a square shape. Remember, I'm going to be making a cube, so I'm going to need to have the same size, same shape on each side, so a square on each side, 6 of them. So I'm gonna want to get that, and I'm noticing it's kind of going into a triangle here, so I'm just gonna kind of squish it back in a little bit, and so I can retry. There we go. I'm gonna do some movie magic, so I have my slab ready. Alright, so I've got this built out. I want it to be just a little longer because if I'm doing my math correctly, to make 6 sides, I know that 2 times 3 is 6. So what I'm going to try to do here is, now I've got to get off the excess, but I'm going to end up making 6 different sides, and you're going to see how I'm going to divide that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my straight edge just like I did with last time, but this time I'm going to get to use the fettering knife. As long as I'm using it blade down, point down. Remember to line up the edge so you get a nice 90-degree angle right on the point there on the edge. Go ahead and cut just like a butter knife. It's going to cut nice and smooth. It's going to make those edges nice and crisp there for you. I'm going to try to make this, let's go about here. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of movie magic to get this the rest of the way cut. All right, I've got this all cut out. I'm looking at here about a rectangle, and remember how I said that 2 times 3 equals 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break it in half. We're going to do a 1 inch by 1 inch cube here. We're going to do a 1 inch by 1 inch cube here. And what I'm going to do is first I got to notch out what I need. So we're going to do a 2 inch by 2 inch cube. So I'm going to be able to kind of see where I am. So I know that this has to be 2 inches. So here is my ruler. I'm going to go to the 2 inch mark. I have it right at the edge here, and I'm going to make a little notch with my needle tool at the 2, right? And then at the 4, right? And now I'm going to do it at the bottom. I have to make sure I do it to the same side since there was an uneven number on this side. So again, I'm getting it right to the edge. I'm going to notch it at 2. I'm going to notch it at 4. Now what I'm going to do is take my guide use it as a straight edge. I'm going to line it up with my notches. So notch at the top, notch at the bottom. Yes, it looks diagonal at the moment, but it will be okay. And I'm going to go ahead and cut where it was right there. There it was. And I'm not going to take it up yet, okay? I will do that later after I've done cutting the other direction. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. So, and then this I know is extra. I won't need it anymore because 2 times 2 is 3. So this time I need to make 2 cuts, so I have 3 boxes each. That will give me 2, 4, 6. So again, we're going for 2 by 2. So that means again, it's right about there at the 6. It's not quite, but it's pretty close. So I'm going to notch at 2, notch at 4. I don't need to make the last notch because it's already right there at 6. I need to do it to the other side as well. Okay, so here we go. I need to notch it at 2, notch it at 4, and I don't need to notch anymore. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and line up my notches again and cut right across. Notch it again, and I'm going to cut right across. So now at this point, I have my 6 pieces. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and gently, and this is where my feathering knife's really fun. I always want blade away from me. But I can kind of like help get it off the table if it's stuck a little bit by just laying it flat and helping myself to get it off there. So I'm gonna do some movie magic. All right, now with my 6 different slabs, what I'm gonna do here is it said when I went through my learning sheet, it said that I could add strong texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my texture now, before I slip and score these together. So I'm going to take one of these texture pieces from level D that I had, and I'm going to go ahead and rub it on. And then I'm going to go ahead and take it off. And it's going to create this very lovely texture. I'm looking for a texture I can actually see and feel, right? I could use the roll here as long as I'm not too hard on it. I could use a roll like that, but again, I don't want to spread it out too much, but I do want to see that lovely texture. I could also take one of the texture tools from level D as well, and add some texture where it looks like it's a basket. Again, we're looking for strong texture, so I should be able to clearly see your texture. I could also take tools from level C that I've used, like the ribbon tool, if I really liked that, and I could add in some texture here as well by using the ribbon tool to cut out some pieces. Whatever I want. I'm going to do some movie magic to get those, to get the rest of my texture. All right, so I've got all my textures here on my clay, and now I need to slip and score them together to actually make the cube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my toothbrush here, and I'm going to rough up each of the sides. So I'll need to go ahead and rough up each and all of my sides, make sure that I have all of them roughed up. I want to be careful that I don't ruin my strong textures that are happening. Okay. When you're putting textures in, it is helpful if the clay isn't super wet and it's slightly, not dry, that's not the word, but it's not super gloppy. If it's super gloppy and can't really hold its shape very well, then textures don't really work very well. You need the clay to be kind of able to hold its shape on its own, meaning like this is staying like a rectangle. It's not like flopping everywhere. It's not really droopy. So as long as that's holding its shape really well, then the textures will also hold really well as well. All right, I got one more to go here. I'm just going to rough up each side. Remember to score each side. I need to rough up, score both surfaces as I'm going along. All right, so now that I have that done, I'm ready to slip. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of slip, and I'm going to take and put the slip on one side of my cube. And then I'm going to take another one, and they should be about the same size, and I'm going to go ahead and put them together. The sides are going to come together like so, okay, and I should be able to make an L. Okay, I want to be careful that when I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I'm not ruining that texture that I worked so hard at. So again, I'm going to get a little bit of slip. I'm going to go ahead and put it on. I'm going to glue it together. I'm going to slightly push it in together, and then I'm going to do another side here. Get some more slip on. Put it on this side, and if I measured correctly, then this should match up pretty easily. I'm going to get a little bit more slip here, and I'm going to get some more slip on this side, right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this all together. All right, now I notice right away, now that I'm going for the top, I notice that, one, I know I slipped and scored correctly because it's holding together, and I'm able to kind of move it around without it going so much. I'm going to start and flip it over to the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and slip and score that on as well. Movie magic. All right, so I've gotten ahead and gotten the bottom on, and I notice it is mostly even. It's not quite all the way, so then what I can do is take either my feathering knife or my needle tool, and I can cut off whatever I need to make it so that the sides are even once I've slipped and scored it together. So I'm going to do that real fast. And then I would score this top on as well. Now, there's an important note for the top. So remember that clay has to be, if it's going to be this thick, because it's more than 2 fingers thick, right, it has to be hollow inside. So that's what we've done here, is we've made a hollowed cube so that, one, it will go in the kiln correctly, but two, it will dry itself out. Now this is going to be the bottom. So what I'm going to do here before I put it on is I'm going to make a little hole in the bottom so that no one can see it when I put it up. But this will be my air hole so that it can dry out on the inside as well. See, if I just were to put this in or put this on, the inside would not be able to dry out, and I need it to dry out in the middle as well. All right, now that I have this cube done, I'm gonna go show my teacher it. And then what I'm going to do is take my knowledge of what I've learned here with textures and slab building, putting slabs together, is I'm going to make a mini art. I'm going to take a clump of clay again, and I'm going to first draw it out, but then I'm going to take my clump of clay, and I'm going to make a mini art that is a 3-dimensional shape with strong patterns. Happy creating!